explosive underbody shielding, bulletproof glass, electrified door handles.
That I actually had the gun out. There's no reason for me not to have my gun out if somebody's at my door.
There's no reason. Like, think about this. In the country, and I'm sure you've seen this video before. I'm sure you've seen it. Whoa, stop.
Hey mamas, let's talk about the memorable features on the Rezvani Vengeance.
And this is this is the consequence of people terrifying themselves because they watch too much true crime. So we're gonna watch this, and then I want to take a look at what I'm gonna be calling, you know, quotations, manly true crime.
I'm body armored, and so is this vehicle. For even more protection, you have explosive underbody shielding, bulletproof glass, electrified door handles.
Electrified door. Now imagine you're a kid and you need to like do like the hot to the touch, or like, you know, make sure that your mom turned off the electric you know, the electrocution fucking defense mechanism before you enter into the car so you can go home and watch like afternoon cartoons.
Carry grade run flat tires and a Ram steel bumper. If anyone's following you, you have blinding lights in the front and the back. Or a smoke screen. Plus my favorite.
Oh, fuck it. Wait. I don't remember the smoke screen. A smoke screen? That's a fucking hazard, dude.
Pepper spray. If you're picking your kids up from the mall, let them know you're there with strobe lights and your intercom.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Bobby, it's your mommy.
Oh yeah. Every kid would rather be run over by this truck after that experience.
Kids will love that it was styled by a video game designer. Vengeance is based on the Cadillac Escalade, so Mama gets heated and ventilated
is this
leather
like
seats, a curved OLED display with
honest to
augmented
God,
reality, a digital rearview mirror.
This is one of those. It's not even a rearview mirror; it's a fucking digital one. This is like some fucking cyberpunk shit, right? Like that's what this is. This is fucking like corpos, fucking you know, the tanks that like the police department there, or is it Militech? Yeah, like that Militech fucking drive around in.
Which is necessary. Vengeance is only yours, and so is everything in this built-in safe. Parents might need to help their kiddos open the door, but it's a breeze to get in.
Oh man, it's really really. I don't know why that connected to that. I watched that on its own. Okay, so we're all kind of familiar with that, right? And we're familiar with the genre of like true crime and everything else, right? But something that like popped up on my recommendations was this home defense video. And tell me these are not the same, like just the same videos. I like
Time now for the weather.
You know, you're just sitting there, just hanging out, watching the good old game. Heart's pounding. You're not sure who's at the door.
Can I help you?
It's a fucking mannequin. See, you can never trust mannequins.
No, I don't want any.
Drop! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Stay on the ground! Do not move! Do not move! Babe, call the sheriff now! If you move,
Call the sheriff. Call the sheriff. Call the sheriff. Okay, guys. Okay. There's a reason why. There's a reason why I wanted to talk about this. And it's mainly because we live in such a fucking paranoid country now because of content like this. And this is not unique content. The person who runs this channel did not come up with this out of whole cloth. They didn't like come up with the idea of doing home defense YouTube content. This is content. This is a genre of content that's been around for quite a long time. But it just so happens I'm picking on this channel. And you know, this person, see, you know, I have no reason to believe that they're not trained. You know, it says they're a Navy SEAL. I have no reason to believe any of that stuff is a lie. But like, we need to kind of, I think, reckon and recognize a little bit with how paranoid Americans have become. I'm going to look up some statistics while we watch this because I'm an idiot and I looked them up ahead of time so I'd have them on the fly. But then I closed the page by accident, never reopened it, and forgot about it when I had to go get groceries. But my point with this is we need to be we need to get a vibe check on people. How are people in the suburbs, you know, responding to literally anything? You know, a knock on the door. And this isn't something, keep in mind, this is not like everything I'm saying. This isn't crazy to think that, oh, like, you know, nobody would be hurt by any of this stuff, or this isn't dangerous. No, 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 no. We've had stories of people getting shot because they went to the wrong door because they thought they were entering their house, or they thought they were entering their friend's house, or whatever. Anyway, I'm doing a lot of talking. Let's just consume a little bit.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about home invasions and how quickly they can happen if you're not prepared. There's a couple things to take in consideration. Before you start really getting into all the possible scenarios, it's super important that you have a foundation for the security of your home. For me personally, the two major factors that I always follow is doors are always locked and I have a CCW on me at all times or within reach.
So keep in mind, I want you to think about this. We have trained a part of our population to be under the belief that they walk into their home and they arm themselves in their homes. Even their homes to them are not safe. That says a lot about where we are in terms of like our national psyche, our national paranoia. Like these people walk around their house ready to quick draw on somebody. And imagine what that paranoia does to you. What kind of like alertness, that like the damage of being that alert has on your psyche at all times.
As you can see running through these scenarios,
they're walking there's a knock on the door and they walk up, hand on waist, ready to go. They're opening the door, they're making sure, and it's just regular people. Somebody asking for help or something, ask for a jump for their car because their fucking battery died, asking for hey, do you have any brown sugar, whatever it might be. And there's this like crazy thought of like, oh my god, my house is gonna get invaded, oh my god, there's gonna be like a violent attacked by somebody, oh my god. It's like this, we'll go over it by the way, but it's just, this is where we are. And again, this is, in my view, no different from the last video we just watched.
Happens very quickly, and regardless how big, how bad, what your background is, you can lose your life in an instant, and it gives them direct access to your wife and your children, okay? So we want to prevent that, and we have to ensure that we lay a good foundation. So before we get started, always use a airsoft or something like that when you're running these drills.
Thank God, some safe.
Accidents do happen, and you never want to be responsible for potentially injuring or killing someone else when you're running these drills, okay? So as we go through this, I'm just gonna walk you through it and just kind of give you my thought process on it of how my house is set up. It's not gonna be exactly like yours is, so you just kind of have to adapt to that baseline, okay? So the first thing I have going for me is I have frosted glass windows, which is really hard to see in, but it allows...
Guys, come on. This is just the tinted windows from the fucking what's it called? I see we have, let's see. I have PTSD, hypervigilance is draining, but I'd rather be Reddit than sorry. Not even right wing, but the world is a fucked up place and walking accordingly. I see. Yeah, like this isn't. I don't want to make this about anybody's like mental health, but this is where we are as a country, as a population. We've scared ourselves into, and I do think the right wing, and this is partially the NRA, has scared themselves into thinking that this is something they need to be hypervigilant about. Having actual like PTSD and hypervigilance is one thing, but this video isn't made for people who have those problems. This is made for dudes in the suburbs who are kind of bored and want to feel like they've built a castle, even though you just live in the suburbs, my guys.
Allows me to see out, okay? So the third factor,
there are gonna be guys, there are gonna be dads in the burbs who are gonna be like, honey, we need to get this kind of like the whatever kind of glass you just said.
Maybe, and I have a timeline. And
they're gonna be like, why are we installing this? Like, so just in case, I can see them when they come up to the door. And it's like, dude, you take a breath, Jesus.
Kind of get a better idea of what they look like and see the vehicle. and it's expected, okay? So there's no reason for me to really be alarmed at that point. If it's unexpected, as you noticed, there was one point that I actually had the gun out. There's no reason for me not to have my gun out if somebody's at my door.
There's no reason. Like, think about this. This is the mindset of answer your door on every ring, ready to kill somebody because you're so worried. And like, and again, we find it hysterical when it's the lady showing off the absurd tank car, but that's what this is. That is the same true crime, hyper terrified of like every like little like sound in the suburbs type of attitude.
Unexpectedly, okay? Some people will say that's a little overboard, but
it's
there are many videos out there to where people come up to do some type of sales pitch, and then there are other accomplices outside waiting to enter the house. Okay, so it's not unheard of. It's actually very common nowadays. Okay,
and that dude just walks away. Like, I'm sorry. Let's be clear. That guy either like that was either staged. Like, I don't know what happened there, but that dude just like walked away. Like, oh yeah, they like ran in. Okay, I'm gonna close up my pizza and go home. Like, ay.
So the next
like,
step
it's not
is,
to say that this stuff doesn't happen,
door,
but the idea that you're going to be in these situations incredibly rare. Again, I'm looking up the stats right now. I wish I had saved the
partially behind the door.
The source that I found.
All right. I always use my foot as a door stop.
Okay? Yes.
I may not be able to prevent them from coming in, but I can prevent them from getting full access to the door, which is going to restrict their movement, which could potentially allow me to strike, slam them in the door. Once again, I'm unlimited of what I can do at this point, okay? The overall goal, if I can, is to get the door shut and locked, okay? So on the approach, I said, hey, can I help you? I don't want any. This person starts.
Okay, so this is from the, what is this? This is Office of Justice Programs, governmental agency. Oh, Bureau of Justice Statistics, sorry. Let's take a look really quickly. Household members face an offender with a firearm in about 12% of all households burglarized, while someone was home and violence occurred. Household members present during a completed burglary were less likely to face an armed offender 30% than an unarmed offender 63%. Like, the idea, and I'll look up, I'll continue to look, I'm trying to find because I don't want to find. So here's also the problem, and keep in mind, this goes back to the culture. If you go look up how many home invasions or armed, let's just do home invasions really quickly, because I want to demonstrate what I mean. If somebody is like worried about this, like, we have some news stories that obviously this is like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not interesting, but a very sensational news. And after we get like some decent sources, you're going to see like 8 surprising home burglary facts and stats. You're at 10 ways to secure your home against home invasions. And most of these are going to be selling you insurance or are sponsored by insurers of like, home insurance. So it's like, it's one of those things where there is a monetary, the same way I said about the NRA, there is a monetary, the incentive to drive people to be really paranoid about a problem that isn't really all that likely. The likelihood of a home invasion when you're present is pretty damn low. Again, I'm gonna look up the stats, but like, this is part of that, like, building that hysteria when somebody is a homeowner and they have to buy home insurance.
Coming towards me, if I can get their hands shut in the door, I can strike. I get that door shut and locked, and then back out with the gun itself, okay? At this point, if I'm home alone,
and God forbid the person doing all of this is like not ready or prepared for all of this.
She doesn't really shoot. I'm the primary protector. Hey, babe, call the sheriff, call 911.
Call the sheriff.
Wherever you
also,
are,
let's be okay.
Super important that you can do that.
And this is like tertiary to the point also, but there is a certain amount of, I think, like, masculine ego that goes into a lot of these videos and goes into framing like the man of the house, the father house, whatever, as this like this last wall of defense from the savagery of the outside world. There is always that kind of Western, I think, narrative that kind of flows through a lot of this kind of content where it's like, oh yeah, you know, like, you know, outside is the scary world and it's the man's job to keep all the evil and scariness at bay. And it's very ego driven. It's very, you know, my purpose is to, you know, protect the home and protect this and do that. And I'm not a real man unless I'm doing that. But if there's no targets, if there's no one for you to attack, if there's no one for you to defend yourself from, then it kind of makes you wonder, like, you know, what is a superhero without a supervillain, right? It's like, what am I without an actual, real, tangible threat? I have to make one up. And I think videos like this and you know, and content like this drives kind of that hysteria the same way that truck from earlier drives hysteria.
At that point, I can start communicating with this person outside that door. Get back, get away from my door. I have a gun. If you come in, I will shoot, okay? No, I don't want any, I'm sorry.
Hey, call the cops, call the sheriff, call the sheriff. Get back, I will shoot. Get back. Get back, get away from my home now.
Because at the end of the day, I don't want to shoot anyone. Even though I'm in the right, there's ramifications that I have to deal with. News are going to get involved. The way the world is going, anti-gun people.
The way the world is going. The world is not going any differently than it was last week. You know, the anti-gun stuff, yeah, again, we've always been having debates about guns. Also, keep in mind the right to everybody's individual right to own and carry a firearm and everything else. That was like the reading of the Second Amendment that we're living under right now was only established in 2008. So keep in mind, it is not like we've always lived under this super, you know, laissez-faire gun, gun relationship. And, you know, only now are they trying to rein it back a bit. No, this is only now did we get this really like laissez-faire reading from a very right-wing Supreme Court.
Potentially bully my wife, bully my children, death threats, all right, then I have to, even though I will be found innocent, I more than likely will have to pay for a lawyer, which is finances that I don't want to deal with. And then I have to deal with the emotional aspect of taking a life. Me personally, I can handle that, but I want you to think about I'm
certainly glad this guy's mentioning
that someone was killed here. That's going to affect them emotionally.
It's also going to make
once
the house
again, as the primary protector of the home, you have a responsibility to protect not only physically, emotionally, and spiritually, financially. Okay, so
and keep in mind. Okay, fine. I finally found it. We got some FBI stats. So 2019, there was an estimated 1.1, we'll just do 1.1 million burglaries, a decrease of 9.5%. When compared to 2018 data, the number of burglaries decreased 29.6% when compared with 2015 data and was down 48.5% when compared with 2010 estimate. Burglaries account for 16.1% of the estimated number of property crimes. By subcategory, 55% of burglaries involved forcible entry. 37% were unlawful entries, and 6.5% were attempted forcible entry. So keep in mind, out of this 1 million, we're talking maybe 500,000 are forced entries, and even then, that doesn't necessarily account for armed burglaries, since armed burglaries, I'm assuming, is what they're counting. And so, and how many houses are there in the United States? There are 300 million people in this country. How many houses do you think there are? How many families do you think there are? And again, of the what? Let's see. Of the 1 million, like this is a minuscule number. This is a minuscule number that we've driven our citizens to be really paranoid over. And again, it's because of the monetary incentives at play. Because people want to sell
think about
you
all of
homing
these
insurance.
Possibilities, all right? So for whatever reason, this person breaches this doorway, all right? And I cannot close the door, whatever. I come out back in this direction here. Reason being, this is called the fatal funnel, okay? Even if I get that door shut, I'm coming here roughly at a 45, okay?
I mean, thank God he's using a fucking airsoft
through
gun.
this door, they're gonna be shooting back this way, and I want to ensure that I'm out of that fatal funnel, okay? Same thing goes with
and keep in mind,
fact,
as I said earlier,
if he's just trying to suck me.
This isn't content for people who have like mental illnesses, who are hyper paranoid, who do have PTSD, stuff like that. That's not who this is for. This is for fucking Jake down the street who has an office job, who, you know, maybe heard once about like a burglary, a break-in of like a coworker's, and is kind of bored. That's what this is. That's who this is for. And if you've ever like, you know, if your dad's ever come home and started acting like nuts, looking around the house for like entry points and being really like silly about shit, like this is the next level. That's the next step of that.
And someone comes around the corner, I still want to go back this way. All right. Path of least resistance. This person's coming around this doorway. The easiest motion for him to take is 90 degrees. If I come back this direction, now he has.
And also, you're asking a bunch of untrained suburban dads to you know, be ready to respond with all this and everything else. And you know, how many of them, you know, how many dads do you think are opening every door and like, you know, they place their foot, they look down, they have to like adjust it. They're like, oh, I got to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, cool. Okay, I got to stay out of the funnel, got to do this. Like, this is all trained combat stuff. This is not normal people. And for whatever reason, we've gotten to a point where we've trained our citizens to go through mundane activities, but do it in a tactical lens. It's really fucking wild. Like, this is not a thing that like Europe or anywhere in the rest of the world, I would argue, like socially trains its citizens to engage with.
At this point, I'm not trying to stop the person. I'm just trying to use every measure that I can to win that fight, okay? So as I said, there are millions
also,
of things
anybody who
to consider
who
here,
like tries to rob your home,
really
any like cop or somebody will tell you, just let them take whatever shit. If you have insurance, it's fine. Just, you know, somebody call the police as quick as they can, call it a day, let them do their thing. Like, you engaging in violence is only going to escalate the situation.
You can actually access it on your phone and actually communicate and see who's outside before you even open
it used to be when I was growing up that you just saw a lot of ADT commercials.
Tactical channel has been hard to find.
Now
maybe we're shadow banned, we don't know.
You know, now we're getting in. Now we have channels like this, and that's what this is. This is you know, whatever the equivalent to Karens are, but you know, this is manly true crime right here. You know the thing that they tell, you know, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.